Welcome back to Western New York High School Football Preview Show 2025 edition. Carson HEYEK joins me. I am Frank Wolf of Western New York Athletics. C North, Akron, Alden, Cleve Hill, Eden North Collins, JFK, Western New York Maritime Tapestry Charter, Medina, Roy Hart Barker, and Tonawanda make up C North. C North got a couple of new coaches down there. Eric Gerstung is going to take over the Akron program. Mark DiRenzo, the former Depew coach, is now taking over at Alden. JFK is back, but they've got Coach Sabatino is back. He was there before. Last year they didn't have a team. But he is back there as the head coach at JFK. Don't know much about them. Didn't get a questionnaire back, so we'll have to get out there and take a look at them and see what they have on their roster for the year. But Akron, Eric Gerstung takes over. They don't have – they took a beating with what they've lost this year. So I know his son Blake comes back for Akron. But outside of that, I really don't know how much Akron has coming back this year. They had a lot of high hopes last year. They had a lot of really good players. The problem is they couldn't stay healthy, and I think it cost them at the end. But they graduated over 24 seniors.
A lot.
So that's just a ton to lose. So Akron is going to be in a bit of a transition this year. We'll have to see how they can stay competitive in C North. Alden, they lost Robbie Westmiller, the lineman. Same boat. They lost a lot, and they have a new head coach there. So with Alden, at least, it's going to be, what we can do to stay relevant along with Akron. So in C North, those two teams are going to have their work cut out. Cleve Hill went 4-5 last year. They come back this year. They potentially lost a kid to St. Francis. I was out of Cortland. There was a kid there from there was a kid from Cleve Hill there, and I can't remember exactly what his name was. Younger kid, sophomore, but looked like a kid that might not. He would be a lot better at Cleve Hill than he will be at St. Francis. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Not saying he's not not good enough to play at St. Francis. Just his impact will be felt at Cleve Hill a lot more than it will be felt at St. Francis. So coming back, Aiden Slater, Nair Black, Zion Howard, Chelo Kasama, Xavier Powell, Dorian Naylor. He's a kid that definitely could have an impact this year for Cleve Hill. And, that was a team that always played at Highmark Stadium. Scott Prisbis comes back as, I think, his second or third full year since Coach Graham, the legendary, soon-to-be Hall of Fame coach Glenn Graham, called it quits there after a fine career. Cleve Hill, then you got Eden North Collins, and that's a team that a lot of people have on their radars as a team that could be, maybe a potential C North top team this year. We'll have to wait and see. They went 3-5 last year. 9 returning stars on offense, 7 on defense. Brady Waring is the kid a lot of people talk about at the quarterback position. For me, though, it's Silas and Isaiah Nellis. Those two weapons that he has at his disposal, those are two guys that are phenomenal athletes. Brady's good, but I love this Silas and Isaiah Nellis, the two brothers there that play together. Dylan Barth, Hunter Esford, Blake Gurnett also returning to play this year. A couple of new players coming in. Peyton Taylor, Troy Fletcher, Flynn. Those are two guys that could have immediate impacts for Eden Collins. I know Waring is on pace to break some quarterbacking records this year. And then so do the Nellis brothers. They have a chance to break receiving records there for Eden North Collins. I'm expecting them to compete this year for the C North title, to be quite honest.
1,000%. When I covered their game last year, they played Salamanca. They lost 52-20. Obviously, that's a pretty wide gap, but I'd phrase it as if it wasn't like Eden North Collins was struggling to move the ball. Like, they moved the ball. The game looked closer than the score would tell you. The only problem with Eden North Collins is they couldn't stop anybody last year. Way too many games where they allowed 30-plus points. I believe they allowed 52 to Salamanca, then they allowed 54 to Akron. Like, if you're going to win games, you can't be allowing those type of numbers. So for me, the offense, we already know what they have. They got a guy returning, Waring at quarterback. He's a beast. They have the two absolute studs at wide receiver. They need to stop people on defense. If they can stop people on defense this year and limit those numbers, even if it's 10 points a game, they're going to take that next step and look out because they could be in it towards the end, especially with the number of guys that they come back with returning.
JFK, as we mentioned, did not have a team last year. Coach Sabatino's there. Colin Brinson, his assistant coach, is back there as well. If we can get a questionnaire from them, we could talk a little bit more about JFK this year as they get back into Section 6 with a varsity squad. Maritime Charter, Tapestry, Glenn Mulinich, the head coach there, I believe is his second or third full year there. They've got 6 returners on offense, 8 on defense, and one of those guys returning is Jalen Coleman, who I liked last year. I thought he was a pretty good athlete. David Dalton's coming back, Jaden Mason. Javon Funderburk is a guy you're going to want to keep your eye on. He's one dude that might be able to turn the tide there and turn that Maritime Tapestry program into a legitimate threat in C North. I know they were very confident going into last year. Didn't live up probably to their expectations, but I think going forward, that's going to be a team we're going to have to talk about. They're taking almost the same path that Health is. It's going to take a little while, but I have a feeling they're going to be a team we're going to be talking about like we talk about Health Sciences. It's just going to take a couple more years, I think, to get there, but they're building towards that, and you're going to have to watch out.
All the foundation.
Yeah, they could – I don't know if – C North isn't super strong, I don't think. I think so many talented players graduated out of C North. I think Western Maritime is one of those teams that maybe this is a year where they can actually compete.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to wait and see. Medina, Christian Moss returns. Now, that was a team in the offseason they thought were going to go to 8-man.
Yes.
They were flirting with it, but once they saw Bruceburg and Allegheny Limestone get back into 11-man, Allegheny Limestone is a standstill program. Bruceburg combined with Southwestern, they were outside looking in. So Medina is going to play 11-man this year. Christian Moss is one of the most exciting backs in Western New York.
Without a doubt.
Kid, tough runner. He's a senior this year. Eric Valley and Medina, I know they say they have low numbers, somewhere in the low 20s. So we'll have to see if that weighs on them a little bit from a depth perspective.
Depth is an issue, yes.
But I was at Sweet Home for the cross-training top 100. I can't recall all their names, but there was 3 or 4 kids from Medina there that day, and every one of them looked like they were better than the next. I'm not buying that Medina can't compete in C North because of numbers. They will compete. They are still tough.
Definition of quality over quantity with them. It's just if guys can stay healthy, like hopefully they've had a strong offseason where they've gotten stronger faster, and ultimately they become more healthier because they're going to need that. If you start losing 3, 4, or 5 guys, all of a sudden, oh boy, look out, like your depth really becomes an issue. So at that point, hopefully if they can stay healthy, there's no reason why they can't compete with anybody else.
Roy Hart Barker is the next team we want to talk about. This time last year, we got an email from the coach, Coach Knight, littered with players like we need to watch. And to be quite honest with you, I really wasn't sure who many of these kids were. I know who they are now. I could tell you this Tyson McCaw kid, he is one tough individual. And Roy Hart Barker, the Bulls they go by, they're going to be a tougher team than they were last year. They didn't sneak up on anybody. I think this year they're going to sneak up on teams. I don't know if they can take the division, but I think they're going to be a team that's really you're going to have to game plan for. I don't know who they open up against, but I can tell you right now, people are going to take them lightly, and I think that's going to be to their advantage. Roy Hart Barker. McCaw is going to be a kid you're going to want to keep your eye on this year. He's a hard worker. Vinny Fazio is another guy. There's a lot of kids here that can play football. We're going to get Roy Hart Barker on this year, Tim. I can't remember what game we're doing, but we've got them on our Section 6 streaming schedule this year. Wilson? Does that sound? I don't know who they're playing, but Eden North Collins. That's the game. Eden North Collins versus Roy Hart.
A good one.
It's going to be a fantastic game. It's up at Barker, so I'm looking forward to going up to see that game. I don't think Roy Hart. They're going to surprise some teams. They're not going to surprise me. I have a feeling this is a team that could put up 4, 5, 6 wins together and be in a position for the playoffs.
For sure.
Here in C North, I think they're a top 4 team there. Tonawanda, new head coaching staff there again. I like the players they brought to Highmark. Those kids looked like they were ready to go. They had renewed optimism, if you will. at Tonawanda. But we don't know much about them. I'm going to try and get there before the end of the week to meet the new head coach again and talk to them. C North, I'm looking at Cleve Hill, Eden, North Collins, Maritime, Medina, and Roy Hart as your top teams in that division. And then we'll have to wait and see how the other teams shake out this year. But that's C North for right now. We're going to come back in a minute for C South.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics.
Or an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs. More information about our Buffalo office is available at logisticsplus.com/Buffalo.
Welcome back to Western New York Athletics High School Football Preview Show. Frank Wolf, Carson HEYEK. And we are on to C South. And Carson, I will tell you, pound for pound, I don't know if there is a tougher division in all of Western New York than Class C South.
A lot of really good teams. For sure. I think it's going to be anyone's game at this point in time because so many guys. There's teams that lose a lot of dudes, like Salamanca. We'll get into it here in a second, but Salamanca loses a lot of dudes. Portville loses a lot of dudes. It's really anyone's division here.
We're going to start with Chautauqua Lake, Westfield Brockton. They got a new head coach there, Ty Harper from CSP. He's only got 3 rings. So he leaves CSP after a very successful, I believe, 10 years there. He was there. And he's now at Chautauqua Lake, Westfield Brockton. Now, they have an offense there. They had an offense before he got there, led by Braden Gibbs, Carson Fairbanks, Devin Hughes, Nick Jacobson. They've got some really good pieces there. They also got a nice tight end there, too. Stephen Olson. So they got some nice players there. They're not as in sync as Tate Ketney's and Hinsdale and those guys,
Correct.
But they're not far off. You put a line in front of those guys, they're going to score points. They're going to probably score 28 to 35 points a game, or they have that capability, anyways. Defensively, we'll have to wait and see how things shake out. That's the big question mark. Defensively, how are they going to be? How are they going to compare to these other teams in the South? And then, and they've got some leaders in the room. The Gibbs kid is a nice leader. Hughes is a nice leader as well as Fairbanks. So they've got some leaders on that team, and they've got Ty Harper and Chris Payne is there as well, defensive coordinator there. So they'll be in good shape. Sea Lake, Westfield, Brockton.
They definitely they go 7-3 last year, 5-3 in league play. You get some guys returning, like you said. They have the talent this year. Ty Harper comes in. He's one of the best all-around coaches that there is, as we brought up with the rings. So this will be an interesting team to follow. A little bit probably more of a new vision this year for Chautauqua Lake. It'll be interesting to see how that compares to last year's team, to this year's team. So definitely a team that I have circled that I'll be watching for this year.
So CSP, last year's state champion from Class D, gets moved up to Class C South. Again, I don't understand why they move them up this year, knowing that they've lost almost 24 players, over a dozen, and not just players, dudes.
Yes.
So now Dave Bodemer is the head coach, relieves Ty Harper. Now, he was the coach of Clymer High School before the original merge. And then at one time it was Clymer and Sherman. And Ty had that team, and Dave was an assistant. Then they brought on Panama. So then CSP was born, and Bodemer has been on that staff forever. So he's no stranger. He's been around. The kids love him. Great coach, real good man to talk to, knows football. He's going to have some challenges because obviously you give up so much talent.
Yes.
But these kids have been playing and practicing with the top players in Class D for years. Mm-hmm. So they know what's expected. They've been to the stadium with all those guys. They know, they're no different than, the Hinsdales and the Barmores and those kids. They've been around successful football teams their whole life. So they know what it takes. And you got a Carson White kid at quarterback, will be a senior now. Cameron Enoch. These kids saw valuable playing time last year. they'll be okay. The biggest problem for them is they get bumped up.
Yes, correct.
So that's going to be a little bit of an issue for them, but I think they're going to be okay in the long run. But again, C-South is just so tough.
Yes, correct. I asked them about that too and how they avoid complacency. Obviously, they go on the run last year, and they've been just so dominant over these past few years. And I thought the answer was very interesting from one of their young gentlemen. He said, don't drop the standard. So you move up now a division. That's obviously against you, along with the fact that you lose some of your best players, some of the best guys between Hinsdale, Catneys, you name it, Barmore. Like, those dudes are for real. So for me, when he said don't drop the standard, that's a great sign. Like you said, they've been around these guys. The internal standards there, along with the mentality and motivation and discipline, and that's a hard combination of skills to find.
Falconer, Maple Grove, Cassadaga Valley. Kurt Fisher's the head coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's a sectional champion, 3-4 times, I believe, state championship head coach. So, he's gonna have that Falconer team focused and ready. I know they lost a Roger Markham kid, but they got Grand Zam coming back. They got Taylor Jones coming back. They got Max Parmentier. They've still got some players there that can contribute, step on the field. I can't remember the kid's name, but there's this kid came in from Houston. I was down at Falconer a couple of weeks ago, and I see this guy coming through the parking lot, cowboy hat. You can hear the cowboy boots from 100 yards away. Practice is already going. Belt buckle bigger than my head. And I thought this guy was like a cop or something off duty, security, whatever. No, this is a senior. Transferred back from Houston. His family left the area to go to Houston. He came back. I can't recall the kid's name, but I'll find out. He's a lineman there, and I swear to God, this kid could rip every limb off my body if he wanted to. Strong dude. I think he's like into rodeos and farming and all that. Like typical kid from the Southern Tier. But yeah, oh my God. As soon as we find out his name, you can't hide this kid. He's that big of a kid. Can he play football? We're about to find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Fredonia, Coach Sherlock comes back with his sons, and they've got a pretty good staff there, but they haven't lived up to their expectations, and they'll be the first to tell you that. With Fredonia, they lost a lot of talent last year to graduation. We'll have to see how Fredonia rebounds from last year's. I want to say they were like 1-7 last year.
1-7 and 1-6 in conference play.
Yeah, and they had a lot of injuries, tons of injuries at the start of the season. 6 returning on offense, 6 on defense. Donovan Dowdy and Aiden Cata, those kids are big guys, big linemen. We'll have to see how they can kind of turn things around for the Hillbillies this year. Max Cuthbert's back. Logan Dowdy, younger guy. Gavin Piazza, Ryan Johnson. Those are guys that they're going to lean on. I don't know. I don't know about Fredonia this year. I haven't been able to get down and see them in camp just yet. Hope to get down there this week, take a peek at them. But that C-South is just so tough.
It is.
Portville. You know more about Portville than I do.
Yes, I do.
Coach Brooks does a really good job of getting
Great
those
guy.
guys, getting the most out of those guys. They give up a heck of a lot, though. Is the DeFazio kid back?
Aiden DeFazio is back. They lose Eli Sleggs at the quarterback position along with Max Dio. He was the running back last year, but I think Adam Rowe, he was a guy who split carries with Dio last year. Similar last names. It's funny as it is, but Rowe should be the guy that this year at the running back position. DeFazio, I mean, wherever you need this kid, he'll play. Wide receiver, punt returner, kick returner, safety, corner, you name it. I mean, the kid even drives the bus. So we'll have to keep an eye out on Portville. They had a year last year, 8-3 overall, 6-3 in conference play. They're kind of a funny team. We'll have to see. But I'll definitely be on the lookout for them in Southern Tier. One of my favorite teams to definitely cover. All around, they just do things kind of the right way, which I definitely do appreciate. So
7 players returning on the offensive side of the ball, 7 on defense. That's nice to have.
yes, it is. It's not all gone.
And they added Bolivar Richburg to the program.
Mm-hmm.
So they have, who else do they have there? Portville. Bolivar Richburg and a couple other teams mixed in there. So they've got dudes that they're pulling in from.
Yes.
Peyton Joy missed a lot of last year. He was injured. He comes back this year and hopefully has a healthy season. Ty Kaczynski, Ian Chamberlain, Demetrius Young, and Jake Ziegler are other guys that you want to keep your eye on for the Portville Panthers this year, and see what they have in store for some of these other. They have such a tough division to play in. We'll have to see how things shake out, but they're always tough to play. I guess.
We're right there against Salamanca. I believe they lost by 5 points or something, and it came down to a punt. It was nearly blocked, and there was a roughing the punter situation. Like, that just kind of shows you Portville, they're for real, and we'll have to see if that translates this year. But they lose some guys, they also gain some guys. So yeah, definitely a fascinating team.
You may remember the name Caden Holcomb. He was a star player down at Portville a couple years ago. He is on the coaching staff this year as a volunteer. So when you have a young guy like that to the staff, it definitely helps. Salamanca.
Oh, goodness. Where do I even start? I talked about Portville being one of my favorites to cover down there. Salamanca is they just match them. Salamanca, they lose some guys, whether it's Maddox Isaacs, Corey Holleran, a few running backs, a few guys up front. They lose a ton of talented dudes, but they're a well-coached team. Coach Bartosek does a great job down there. Peyton Bradley, I think, is going to be their guy this year. He returns this year. He played both sides of the ball for them. I believe he's going to be their quarterback. And then Quentin Brown also comes back. He's going to be a guy I'd definitely look out for in the backfield. And then Everett Spence is a guy who was one of their leading tacklers last year. They lose a lot of talent, but at the end of the day, I still have a ton of faith in Salamanca. They were just they were just a few plays away from winning the state championship. So they're going to be just fine. They start with Olean Bradner Stadium week 1. That should be a really, really good game, I think, for both squads. It's a test for Olean. Salamanca, that's a game that is also a test for them to prove to themselves that, hey, like we can still do this here. So Salamanca's standard is as high as ever, and I still have high expectations and definitely believe in Salamanca.
Yeah, the leadership factor. Ton of leaders went. I mean, even Warwick Kyler, the lineman that they had, he was a real special player for them, and Maddox as well. The list goes on and on. They lose a ton.
They do.
I like the Bradley kid personally. I think he's a real sweet kid, nice kid in the locker room. They have a drop off in talent, no question about it. When you lose players like Maddox Isaac, you're gonna have a little bit of a drop off there. But I think some of the leadership too. They're going to have to quickly identify some team captains that they can believe in and rally around, but they'll be ready to go. I know. Definitely. I remember leaving Cortland last year, summer ago, and it was and I think they bowed out early. That 7-on-7. I think I was talking to Coach down there, and he told me that they got a long ways to go. He told me, and I wasn't doubting him. Chad Bartosek knows what he's talking about, but I think he was playing a little bit of possum there as well.
Yeah.
Again, they had such a wonderful year last year. They didn't do well at Cortland this time around either, though. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how things shake out for Salamanca. Ultimately, I think they will definitely be there at the end, battling for a playoff spot for C-South. You talk about how these teams in C-South, there's going to be a good team not make the playoffs. Only 4 of them are going to go, so a good team's not going to make it.
Open division, you can't ask for much more.
Brings us to Southwestern Frewsburg. This year, Frewsburg and Southwestern combine. Trent Lewis is the guy at quarterback for he's a Frewsburg kid. They get Roger Markham in the program, maybe one of the top players in Class C, all-around players. He does it all, wide receiver, defensive back, just a great leader. He's going to be maybe the guy that turns the tide for Southwestern Frewsburg overall. A lot of good players there. Brayton, I got to pull up their roster again, but there's a lot of really good players from Southwestern. Brady Fuller, one of those guys. Southwestern Frewsburg is going to be a handful.
For sure. And
they were very good at the Cortland 7-on-7. They've been very good in the Jamestown Passing League. I'm expecting big things out of Southwestern. They easily could be your C-South champion if they wanted to. Can they be? That's up to them. They had a good coaching staff.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll have to wait and see how the season goes, but they're out of the gate. Southwestern Frewsburg is one of those teams that we're going to be talking about on and on this season.
Definitely. Sometimes, you worry when two teams come together, or two different schools, I should say, come together. Is it going to gel? Is the chemistry going to be there? Asked about that at the stadium. They said they knew each other already for the most part. They're good friends. So that's a really, really good sign to pair with a guy like Trent Lewis, who has got all the talent, I think, potential around in Western New York. He's been training in the offseason with Coach Kinder a lot. He's been doing a lot of stuff in the weight room. And to top it all off, I know he's very close with Cole Snyder and Aiden Kennedy, 2 quarterbacks at Southwestern who have played in college, and Cole's now and playing, I believe, in the CFL. So good history there. Story program. I expect Southwestern to get right back on the top.
The Trojan Bears are going to take both mascots and combine them. They'll be known as the Trojan Bears, and I'm looking forward to a lot of good things out of Southwestern. We do have them on the schedule as well. Springville. They've got a few players returning. They were close last year. They were competitive last year. We'll have to see how things go this year with Springville. I know there's, when you look through the C South, who is the weak link in that division? And I don't know if there is one. Even Springville, who have gone through a lot of changes over the years, coaching changes, they were competitive last year. They beat Olean.
They were, yeah,
in Springville. So, I'm expecting a little bit more out of Springville, but what a division they're in. C South is stacked.
Yes, for sure. I talked to their quarterback who's going to be returning, James Rolla, this year. He said they're going to be taking the next step, I think, in the passing game. They were a heavy run team last year. They're going to, obviously, that's their identity. They're going to continue to run the rock. But James said they're going to attempt to throw the ball a little bit more. They're in more 7-on-7 leagues, and they took the offseason a little bit more serious, which is something that I was interested that he brought up to me. But Springville, like you said, they're going to be right there. They're going to be competing hard with everybody else, and this is really just a stacked division that it's going to be bare-knuckle fighting all the way till the end here.
Yeah, and I'm already on enough bulletin boards heading into the season, so I don't want to get into too many. But if we're talking about teams that could end up at Highmark Stadium out of Class C, I mean, on the north side of things, I'm looking at like a team like Eden North Collins, Roy Hart Barker, or Medina, West New York Maritime Charter, one of those schools for sure. Could definitely see themselves playing at Highmark. And then Chautauqua Lake, Westfield, Brockton, what an offense. I mean, they score so many points. They could potentially score a ton of points. That's a team you got to keep your eye on. But, this Falconer team is still a tough out. CSP, they got a lot. They got a lot to prove. They want to prove a lot to others, I should say. Portville is going to be a tough out. They're a very physical team. Can they wear down some of these other schools, and maybe get them into a ball control type game? Salamanca, you want to count them out? I don't.
I definitely don't.
The Southwestern Frewsburg team combining the Roger Markham kid and Trent Lewis, they're going to be a tough out. So take your pick. Sea Lake, CSP Falconer, Portville, Salamanca, or Southwestern. I don't know if Fredonia's got enough in them to compete for the C South title, and the same thing with Springville. We'll have to wait and see. Hope I'm wrong if you're a fan of those schools. But if not, we'll see how things go.
For sure.
That's
Should be
Class
fun.
C in a nutshell. We'll be back after word with Class D. We'll wrap things up here on the High School Football Preview Show.